Hello. I am knackered, and that is because I just spent a very long weekend at the absolutely incredible UK Games Expo. This is an enormous gaming event, a convention in Birmingham's NEC that is absolutely massive, and it is a great place to showcase all of the most amazing board games, role-playing games, and miniature games that are coming out right now. I was able to attend the entire event and I had an incredible time. I met so many amazing people, and this video is me talking all about that incredible experience. As long as I don't fall asleep halfway through, because I am still exhausted from such an awesome time. I'm Jordan, this is Jordan Sorcery, and today I'm reflecting on my experiences at UK Games Expo 2025. This is actually my second time attending the UK Games Expo. 2024 was my first time. It was absolutely amazing, but it did not prepare me for the scale and scope of what they had in store this year. I was able to get hold of a press pass, which meant that I was going to be able to attend the entire thing, including a special preview on the Thursday, and every single day was chock full of incredible stuff. I could have spent an entire week at the con and still not seen everything. And that's mostly because as you're walking around this enormous venue, you're bumping into people, you're seeing amazing games, you're getting distracted and waylaid in the best possible way. But I'm going to talk today about my experiences as a content creator attending the UK Games Expo. So what did I get stuck into? Why was I there? And what were the most successful things for me? Here is a quick primer on the UK Games Expo if you're not familiar with it. It's been going for about 19 years or so, and it has grown exponentially in that time. It has become the largest gaming convention in the UK, and by floor space, this year it was the second largest convention in the world. It has eclipsed Gen Con because they added extra halls and just made the space absolutely enormous this year. They even had an additional hall just for ticketing and the bring and buy because they needed to fit so much stuff into this huge thing. There were, I think, 40,000 unique guests walking those halls and exploring all of the games in attendance. Something around 700 different companies being there this year. It was absolutely huge. And on top of that, you have got a painting competition. There are things to collect, there were badges and stamp quests and sticker quests and all sorts of stuff. There is so much to do over the course of the 3 days, and that doesn't even count the shopping. And the shopping is an enormous part of it. I mentioned the bring and buy. That's because that's probably the best bit of shopping for me, because there is this opportunity to get hold of all of this amazing retro stuff. Anybody can bring their secondhand things along to the convention, check it into the bring and buy, and then over the course of the 3 days, the bring and buy will try and sell it for you. That means that there are loads of job lots and classics and complete collections and damaged stuff, all sorts of amazing things in there, some really, really fun stuff to see. And that is why I absolutely love it. But that was the smallest part of the opportunity to buy games, because so much new stuff is on sale as well. Absolutely incredible launches of board games and miniature games and role-playing games. Pretty much wherever you look, there are card games over there, there are role-playing games over there. You just can't move without seeing incredible new stuff. I actually tried to be very, very disciplined when it came to picking stuff up, so I didn't really buy an awful lot at the convention. I did get the Warhammer Disc Wars game, which was the card-based Warhammer fantasy battle game, for about £10 from the bring and buy. I also picked up some miniatures from Black Scorpion, and there was an amazing set of bins of just pick and mix classic Citadel miniatures and all sorts of other miniatures just thrown together into these enormous buckets that you would literally have to put your hands in and scrape around. I mean, this is old lead as well, and spears and swords and all sorts of stuff, so you have to be very, very careful. But it was like when you were a kid and you were looking through your tubs of Lego for those important pieces. I was actually able to get a couple of real classics from this. There were between £1 and £3 and £5 each, depending on whether they were metal, depending on what age they were. But they were really just all bundled together, so you could grab lots of really fun stuff, and then there was like an honesty system. but I was able to get a couple of ogres that were featured in Hero Quest, as well as an ogre that was actually from Battle Masters. I also got a Chaos Sorcerer from the 90s, which is really cool, and the Chaos Sorcerer plastic model that was from Talisman. So this really was something I was looking for and filled a gap in the collection. So I was very, very pleased. There were a couple of other classic metals as well, like a Corn Gore, which I was feeling very positive about, having just done a video about the Beastmen history. So that was my absolute favourite sort of shopping space, because it was so amazing to get these retro miniatures that are really hard to find, and when you do find them, they're very expensive online. So seeing them in this pick and mix spot was great. Walking around the convention just opened the door to so much cool stuff. Outside, there were a load of Viking reenactors. They were talking about the different weapons and what it was like to string a bow in combat, what you could carry, and whether or not D&D is realistic. That was really, really fun. I took a look at some of the amazing entries for the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy painting competition, the Sir Coates Painting Masters, that was being held at UK Games Expo, and also got a chance to chat to Duncan and to Roger about the judging process and just being at the convention and what that was like. So that was really, really fun as well. As a content creator, one of the real key things is actually getting out there and meeting and sort of networking with other content creators and important people across the industry. So I was really, really pleased to bump into other content creators like Hellstorm Mikey and Peachy and Louise Sugden from Rogue Hobbies, Guy from Midwinter Minis and Pete the Wargamer, and a load of other folks as well. And I apologize if I've forgotten or not mentioned you, but it was awesome to chat to those folks and to just have conversations about content creation and what it's like working in YouTube and the industry and how things are moving forward. And that was really, really, really fun. And hopefully, you know, the opportunity for collaborations or future conversations, who knows, that could happen. But it was just great to have that moment to meet in real life. It's very strange as a content creator because your peers, what's closest to your colleagues, all have their own complete separate businesses and work completely separately to you. And then you're sort of doing a lot of that work and sort of behind the scenes stuff completely on your own. So actually building that network of peers who are doing similar work can be really super important, and that can be strengthened by this kind of opportunity to just bump into people and chat to them. And then, of course, as somebody who interviews the folks who were involved in the creation of games and the building of Warhammer and tabletop gaming generally, being able to meet people who are designing games right now and are carrying the legacy of classic games, that is really important to me as well. Seeing how they're moving it forward and chatting to them about it is ace. The opportunity to speak with folks like Mike Mason about Call of Cthulhu at the Chaosium stand, or Fighting Fantasy with Sir Ian Livingstone and Mark Gascoigne and John Green, or I got to play actual demo games at the Avalon Hill stand with Doug Hopkins, who is the designer of some of the latest Hero Quest and Talisman board game stuff. That was so amazing. Doug also sent me home with a couple of free games, and it's just amazing to have that opportunity to sample this stuff so that I can talk about it and explore it here on the channel. So an enormously important opportunity for the work that I do, and just amazing fun as well. So many generous folks who were willing to just chat to me and spend some time talking. I did also get what I think is a very fun photo with Matt and Tom from Shut Up and Sit Down, a YouTube channel that I absolutely love. They were very lovely, and they did humour me with a photograph. Some of my favourite stands to see were actually the miniature game stand. So I got to spend some time chatting to Thomas Pirinin about Trench Crusade, which was awesome. They put on a really good show. They had an amazing display board in one space, and then some absolutely incredible art. There was some fantastic Paul Bonner art available to check out, and the amazing map that they've built for Trench Crusade. So that was really, really fun. And then also, I got to speak to James Hewitt about Dystopian Wars and Armoured Clash. These are, I think Armoured Clash actually won 2 prizes, 2 awards at the UK Games Expo Awards, which I also attended, which was really fun to see what was being sort of recognised across the entire tabletop space. So that was really fun. And Dystopian Wars looks awesome. I used to play the first edition, the miniatures that they've made, the new plastic miniatures and resin miniatures, really, really beautiful. One of my most eagerly anticipated displays was Moonstone from Goblin King Games. As expected, they had absolutely incredible boards, just really, really beautiful, incredible miniatures, incredible boards to play on. I got to have a really fun demo game. It was it's such a great game, and set of rules and the mechanics really lend themselves to fast and loose play. It was a lot of fun. I should also mention the awesome folks from Sound Realms. So these are the guys who have actually updated the original Steve Jackson's Fist, the audio game book that Steve Jackson wrote back in the 90s. They have put it onto an app, so you can now listen to this. They've recovered and digitized all of the amazing footage, the audio that was recorded at the time. Absolutely incredible to have the opportunity to play that now. They're also working on Lone Wolf and Dracula and some other fun stuff as well. So that was really cool to spend some time chatting to them and just experiencing that stuff again. I absolutely love it. And then, of course, Cubicle 7, some of my absolute favorite stuff in the RPG space today. Publishers of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, as well as the 40k games and Age of Sigmar games. And they are releasing a new Horus Heresy game soon. And most importantly for me, they've been working on the Old World RPG, which is, I think, really, really fun. I can tell you that I have done just a little bit of writing for that, and I am really excited to share it and get it out there. But absolutely amazing to see real they didn't have the books yet, they're not actually published yet, but real, there was all of the art, and there were playable demos, and they had some awesome costuming as well. So it was really awesome to just see this thing that is now becoming a reality. It just fantastic. I'm so excited about the Old World RPG. I cannot wait. I'm going to be doing some more content here on the channel about that in the future and exploring the lore of the Old World and the era and all of that kind of stuff. So that was awesome to spend some time chatting to those folks as well. Very, very privileged to have had those conversations and been just even a little bit involved in some of that. Unfortunately, there were a load of people who I would have loved to speak to. Dave Walker from MS Paints was there, but had a huge queue the entire time, so I didn't get a chance to see him or Hector, the safety frog. Loads of other awesome folks as well. There were a lot of games that I wanted to see that I didn't get a chance to see, but even though it was 3 days long, and even though I was just walking the halls for a huge amount of it, whether it was meetings or game demos or whatever else, the time just disappeared so quickly. It was just not possible to see everything and to see everyone and talk to everyone. Of course, the most important thing, and just an absolutely incredible, humbling part of going to a convention like this, is just seeing folks who enjoy the channel and watch the stuff that I'm doing and support the work that I'm doing here. And we just had so many great conversations. Genuinely, it was awesome to just take a minute and just talk to people who are enjoying the Jordan Sorcery, the work, and just wanted to talk to me about it and wanted to explore it, find out what I'm working on next, just talking about a particular video that they enjoyed the most, or even literally just taking a second to say hello and mention that they'd seen some of the stuff. I was so, it's so strange, and I don't want to come across as too cheesy or whatever, but it's genuinely humbling and just really is very validating to be able to see that there are folks. I mean, I know obviously you folks are out there watching this right now. You see the analytics, you see the numbers on your YouTube, and you see the support online. To have just an opportunity to see that in the real world a little bit as well it's really very nice, and it's not more important than the support online, obviously, but it is another thing that is part of it that is very heartwarming, and just it helps you feel like you're on the right track, I guess. One final thing that I want to mention is probably the game that I was most excited by after the whole event. So besides the Old World RPG, of course, but this one is an independent RPG called Don't Play This Game from Parable Games. And this got me so excited just seeing this. Basically, the conceit is that when you pick up this solo journaling RPG, when you pick up this book, you have become cursed, and you have 7 days to play it or something bad will happen. You then go about journaling it, and it is kind of like found footage horror. There are elements of the Ring and J-horror, which I am an absolutely huge fan of. It is really beautifully put together. It reminds me in the best possible way of like a Delta Green or a Dark Matter, which you will know that I absolutely love. And essentially you play through this sort of, this horror solo journaling RPG. You write down all of your experiences and potentially you escape and evade whatever like inalienable threat is coming for you, whatever horror is after you, this unknown fear. If you conquer it, that's great. But you basically take your journaled final version, your experience, and you're supposed to give that to someone when you finish. So you essentially pass the curse on to the next person in the chain. And it was just a really exciting, like, this ticks so many boxes for me. So I'm very much looking forward to playing this. I am toying with the idea of playing this on live stream. I think that would be really, really fun. Just to literally sit down over a couple of consecutive nights and play through this terrifying horror experience. And maybe people can come along and help me out. Thank you to everybody who took even a moment to chat to me or say something to me or come over and speak to me or entertained my approach to them and me taking their time. It was really, really fun. I think overall, the entire event was a huge, huge success. It was bigger. The aisles had been widened, so even though there were more people, it never felt too full. There was this real opportunity to wander around and to see what you liked. There was loads of cool stalls and loads of stuff like that. Do I think there was any, would I say there were any constructive points of criticism? I think the layout that they created this time around, it was like a big U shape, so it was kind of this continuous hall. It was all on the same level. Previously, it had a different hall as well, which was a layer down, which meant that there was kind of this bottleneck. Whereas this time, with the wider aisles and this huge U shape around the entire NEC, it meant that you just had this free roaming ability to just wander about, and there was lots of space. So I thought that was absolutely amazing. Big fan of that. I think maybe a bit more air conditioning, if that is possible. It got very hot and sticky, especially on the Saturday, I think. Not really a constructive thing for the con. I think it was great, and if it continues to grow in this way, I think it's just going to go from strength to strength. For me, one of the lessons I have learned, I guess, was that, so I didn't really book in any of the RPGs or tournaments or the sort of actual gaming that takes place. The Hilton Hotel is just across the way from the NEC. In there are a huge number of huge halls that are open for role-playing games and tabletop games throughout the entire weekend. And you can book into those early and you can get yourself a seat at the table. You can run stuff. There are mega games where you can just like run an entire empire. There is the Starship Simulator where you can be the bridge crew in this immersive experience for a couple of hours. So there's all of this kind of actual gaming stuff going on. And I walked through the sort of Hilton area to check it out and see what was going on. It looked awesome. I didn't play anything like that. So I think maybe for me in the future, I would love to either run a game or attend a game, maybe book that in advance. I think that would be really fun. Other than that, I'm just looking forward to next year. I'm looking forward to more of the same, but different, because it was so different this year from last, and I can only assume that next year is going to be different again, because there's just so much to it, so much to see. No two people will have the same experience because there's so much to see and do. So a big success for me. There you go. I mean, I guess as a content creator, it's an interesting balance, because there is a huge investment to going to a show like this. You've got to take a huge amount of time out of your diary. There's a cost associated with it, travel and accommodation and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, I'm now making this content about it, so there is a virtuous element to it. And I got the press pass, so I was able to sort of get around and see stuff that I might not have been able to see otherwise. So that is awesome. As a networking opportunity, it's hugely important. I remember last year, a load of interviews that I was able to conduct with really influential folks, they came from being able to talk to those people at the Games Expo. And I very much hope the same thing happens again, and that I'm able to get some really interesting interviews and conversations, potentially business opportunities or collaborations. Very much hoping that we see similar stuff in the year ahead to what I was able to achieve from last year attending the convention. So overall, from a business perspective and a content creator perspective, it was very much worth it as well. Not always as immediately tangible, but it opens potential doors that may yield some really interesting results. So from a content creator perspective, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. As a punter, as an attendee, absolutely incredible and highly recommended. So for me, it's a win, and I, like I say, cannot wait until next year. But for now, let's call it. Let's walk away. I need to go and get some rest, because even a number of days later after getting home, I'm just still so tired. And I don't know, obviously, yeah, that's not sleeping very well and whatever else. But it just, it's walking around and talking and just soaking up all of the sights. It's quite tiring in a good way. But it's like when you go on holiday and come back and you're like, right, I'm ready for a holiday now because we did so much and had so much fun. That kind of thing. So I will bid you adieu for now. I'm Jordan, and this is Jordan Sorcery.